All right, so have you ever felt like your Python code is kind of like stuck in rush hour traffic? Especially when you're dealing with like mountains of data.
Oh, yeah.
Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into Numba.
Okay.
It's a tool that can basically turn your numerical Python code, into a Formula One racer,
Wow.
even on GPUs.
Okay.
And we've got this super cool blog post from Continuous Improvement. It's called Accelerating Python with Numba Introduction to GPU Programming.
Andres.
It's hot off the press, like published just a few days ago, January 14th, 2025.
Okay.
And it's all about, helping you, the listener, squeeze every ounce of speed out of your Python code, particularly for those data-heavy tasks.
Right.
The ones that can really bog things down.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this tool can, bridge the gap between Python's user-friendliness and then, the raw power of low-level languages.
Oh, okay.
Imagine writing Python code that performs like it was, handcrafted in C or C++ specifically for number crunching.
Okay.
That's the magic of Numba.
Okay. I'm intrigued, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's, break this down a little bit. What exactly is Numba?
Right.
And why should I be, jumping up and down about it?
Think of Numba as, your secret weapon. A just-in-time compiler that transforms your Python code into super fast machine code right when you need it. It's like having a personal translator that speaks the language of your computer's hardware.
Okay.
And it's ensuring that your code runs at, lightning speed.
So it's like having a turbocharger installed directly into my Python code.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
But hold on. The blog post specifically mentions that Numba is like a rock star when it comes to numerical calculations.
Yeah.
What's so special about that?
Well, numerical calculations are the backbone of so many fields, from data science and machine learning to simulations and even image processing. And here's the kicker. Numba is what we call type specializing, meaning it creates a custom-tailored, optimized version of your code based on the specific types of data you're using.
Oh, wow.
Imagine having a race car that's fine-tuned for each track you race on, right?
Okay.
That's Numba.
Okay, so we're talking about serious speed boosts here. But the blog post also kept mentioning these mysterious things called GPUs.
Right.
Aren't those just for, hardcore gamers?
Right.
And fancy graphics?
You're right. GPUs were initially designed for graphics.
Yeah.
But they've evolved into these incredible parallel processing powerhouses.
Okay.
Think of a GPU as having thousands of tiny cores all working together on different parts of a problem at the same time. It's like having an army of chefs working in parallel to prepare, a massive feast, instead of just one chef toiling away in the kitchen.
Now that's an image.
Yeah.
That makes my stomach rumble. But how does Numba connect to this whole GPU world?
Right.
It feels like we're jumping from Python, which is all about ease of use, to these super powerful GPUs. How does that even work?
That's where CUDA enters the picture.
Okay.
CUDA is NVIDIA's platform for programming GPUs.
Right.
Traditionally, working with CUDA required, diving into the depths of languages like C or C++. But Numba swoops in and makes CUDA accessible to us, Python folks.
Okay, yeah.
It's like having a backstage pass to the GPU concert, allowing you to harness that incredible parallel processing power without needing to learn a whole new language.
Hold on. So you're telling me I can write Python code,
Yeah.
sprinkle in a bit of Numba magic, and suddenly my code is running on a GPU.
That's right.
Is it really that simple?
It can be surprisingly straightforward.
Wow.
The blog post even gives a simple example using a function to calculate the hypotenuse of a right triangle.
Okay.
By adding just one line of code, the @JIT decorator, Numba takes that function, compiles it for the GPU, and boom.
Oh, wow.
Instant speed boost.
Wait, a single line of code can unlock the power of a GPU?
Yep.
That's insane.
No.
I'm starting to see why you were so excited about Numba earlier.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly having access to a superpower you didn't even know you had.
It is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this hypotenuse example is just scratching the surface.
Okay.
Numba can also accelerate those workhorse functions from NumPy.
Okay.
The library that powers so much of data science. We're talking about manipulating arrays, matrices, all those numerical operations data scientists use every day.
Right.
All running at warp speed thanks to Numba.
Okay, so my brain is officially buzzing with all this Numba and GPU stuff.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, let's talk about the practical side of things.
Okay.
I'm all for making my Python code faster.
Right.
But are there any situations where Numba and GPUs might not be the best fit?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that GPUs aren't like a magic bullet for every performance problem.
Okay.
They have their strengths, but they also have their limitations.
Right.
Think of them as like specialized tools in a toolbox. You wouldn't use a hammer for every repair job, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so when it comes to Numba and GPUs, what are some of the things we should watch out for? Like, what are those use the right tool for the job scenarios?
The first thing to keep in mind is that GPUs really shine when you're working with large data sets.
Okay.
If you're only dealing with a small amount of data, the overhead of transferring that data to the GPU might actually outweigh any performance benefits.
Ah, okay.
It's like using a giant cargo ship to transport a single package.
Right.
Not very efficient.
So it's like those massive industrial kitchens we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
They're amazing when you need to prepare a feast for hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just making a quick sandwich,
Right.
that's probably overkill, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another crucial factor is the computational intensity of your tasks. GPUs excel when your code is doing a lot of number crunching relative to the amount of data it needs to access.
Right.
Think of a factory with tons of workers, but like limited loading docks. You want to keep those workers busy with plenty of tasks to perform. Otherwise, they'll just be standing around waiting for data. And that's a waste of processing power.
So it's not just about having like a powerful engine.
Right.
It's about making sure the engine's always working hard.
Exactly.
You got to make sure your calculations are doing heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And not just twiddling their thumbs waiting for data to arrive.
Exactly. And finally, we need to be mindful of those data transfers between the CPU and the GPU.
Right.
Remember our package delivery analogy?
Yeah.
Moving data back and forth takes time.
Okay.
And it can create bottlenecks.
Right.
It's like having a super fast chef but a slow delivery service.
Yeah.
It kind of defeats the purpose.
Right, right. So the takeaway here is to minimize those data transfers as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like maybe do as much processing as you can on the GPU before sending the results back to the CPU.
Exactly.
Kind of like batching those deliveries instead of sending a single package at a time.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Understanding these principles is crucial for getting the most out of GPU acceleration.
Okay.
It's not just about using Numba. It's about using it strategically and efficiently.
Okay. This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from feeling like our Python code was stuck in the slow lane to discovering this whole world of Numba and GPU acceleration. Who knew Python could be this fast?
It's amazing to see how tools like Numba are like democratizing access to high-performance computing.
Yeah.
Python, a language known for its simplicity and versatility, is now like a serious contender in the world of data-intensive applications.
So for our listeners out there, what's the key takeaway from all of this? What's that one nugget of wisdom they should walk away with?
I think the most important thing is to be curious and to experiment.
Okay.
Now that you've seen how Numba can transform your Python code, think about your own projects. Are there any areas where you're dealing with large data sets or computationally intensive tasks?
Right.
Could Numba be the secret ingredient to unlock new levels of speed and efficiency?
We encourage you to give Numba a try.
Yeah.
Explore its capabilities. See how it can revolutionize your Python workflows.
Definitely.
Who knows? You might just discover that your code has a hidden need for speed.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy coding, everyone.
All right, so we've talked about when GPUs are a good fit.
Right.
But the blog post also mentions some other tools, right?
Yeah, it does. Like, talked about Python and PyC80.
Right.
And even this thing called QPy, which honestly sounds a bit intimidating.
Yeah, they can be a bit more complex to work with.
Okay.
But they offer, different levels of control and performance.
So it's like having different types of tools in your toolbox.
Exactly.
You might need a screwdriver for one job and a wrench for another.
Exactly. And, the blog post emphasizes that Numba stands out for its relative simplicity, especially for folks who are just getting started with GPU programming.
Okay.
It requires minimal code changes.
Right.
And it feels more Pythonic.
So Numba is like the friendly neighborhood mechanic who can handle most of your car troubles without you needing to become a full-blown engineer.
That's a great analogy. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job based on your specific needs and experience level. Sometimes you just need a quick oil change, and sometimes you need a complete engine overhaul.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So wrapping up this deep dive, what are the big takeaways for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they go back to their own Python code?
I think the key takeaway is that Python doesn't have to be slow.
Right.
With tools like Numba, you can unlock incredible performance gains, especially for numerical tasks. And don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Try out Numba on your own projects.
Okay.
You might be surprised at how much faster your code can run.
And remember, GPUs aren't just for gaming anymore.
Exactly. They're becoming an essential tool for any Python developer who wants to push the boundaries of performance.
So until next time, happy coding, everyone. And may your Python code always run at the speed of light.